Hi, I'm Greg at Anglers All, and thanks for watching another video of ours. Today we'd like to tie up a John Barr's cranefly larva. This is a great pattern to fish, especially during high water or anytime there's been heavy rain. A lot of these get dislodged and they become a great food source for the trout. And cranefly larvae, just kind of give you a little background on them. They're actually part of the chironomid family. So they're kind of a little bit on the midge side. What they do is they burrow in and they live in really soft, silty sections of the river. They, under logs, places where they can get down into. They also will burrow into the side of the river bank. So whenever there's big heavy rains, lots of moisture, they pupate and they come out. They actually hatch on dry land. Most of the time we don't see the cranefly larva as an adult because it usually happens really early in the morning, about 1 or 2 a.m. when we're not there. But every once in a while we'll see them in masses on the river. And if you can skitter a adult cranefly across the riffles through some softer water, even if you have a fly that doesn't quite look like a cranefly larva, but in fact get the size right and kind of make it work a little bit like that. Many times you can be real successful fishing these as adults, but primarily we will be nymphing these. So first thing we're going to do, I'll just kind of run through material real quickly. 200R size 8s is what I'm going to tie today, but you can certainly tie these all the way as big as size 4s. We're going to lead it with some wire, or some lead wire. Make this thing really heavy. I'm going to tie kind of a more olivey, slate olive color. So for this particular one, we're going to use 70 denier and just a straight up olive thread. Tail is going to be anything from some watery olive to a tan marabou. You could even use a grizzly marabou, would work fine for this. The next piece we'll tie in is some 3/0 nylon tippet for the rib. The shell casing of this is going to be thin skin, and we're going to use tan for this. And then the dubbing, as I said, we're going to be using this sow scud dubbing in a watery or smoky olive. You can also tie these in just a straight up tan as well, but most of the time this smoky olive color works the best. All right, first thing we're going to do is put in some lead. I'm going to start off right about, I don't know, right above the barb of the hook. I'm going to make about 30 wraps. Okay. You want to have about maybe 2 eye widths. Bare hook right behind the eye. So you can see there once I compress all of this. And if you counted those, there's about 30 wraps there to put that all in. Next thing we're going to do is attach our thread. And what I'm going to do is just create a little thread dam right in front of that. I haven't clipped my tag end of my thread. I'm just going to lay that on top of the hook and bring my thread back to the back section of this lead. At this point I can cut this off, and then I'm going to make a little thread dam again right behind the rear section. Then I can bring my thread back just a little bit. We're going to get some marabou. Make this little lobe, as they call this. Basically just going to stroke all of this marabou so it's all the tips are even. This is going to be about the width or the gap in the hook. First couple wraps is the hardest just because this kind of gets in our way. We need to adjust it. Pull that, tighten it up. Don't cut this butt section off yet. So what we're going to do is jump onto this lead. I'm going to wrap this forward. By doing this, this also gives the fly some bulk. Also keeps dubbing and everything to start to keep from falling into all that wire. Grabbed a piece of the 3/0 mono. Just lay that in on my side of the hook just like we would wire. Secure that onto my side. Then I'm just going to come right back to the tie-in point of that marabou. Bring my thread up about halfway. Then we're going to grab some of this thin skin. As you can see, it kind of has that white paper backing. So I've cut the strip, and the strip is going to be about not quite the gap of the hook. With your fingernail, you can go in there and separate that thin skin from the paper. You can see that becomes very clear, a little bit more translucent. What you want to do is lay this on top of the hook and let it wrap all the way around. Then as I come backwards, I'm going to pull on the thin skin, stretch it a little bit. Come back to the marabou. You have a material clip, go ahead and clip that in there. At this point, we're just going to grab this dubbing. This fly takes a lot of dubbing, so be a little patient with me. And as I beef up this body here. This back to the back, come forward, you can twist that, Tie it in a little tighter. Basically, just kind of think about doing this in segments. If you do it that way, if you tie it, kind of divide this body up into maybe thirds, you won't have 2 feet long noodle of dubbing that you're trying to wrap around this hook. As you can see at the bottom of the fly too, I'm using quite a bit of dubbing as well. So this fly is not a small critter. Okay. Now, the shape of this fly, if you can kind of think of an elongated football, it's kind of a good shape for this fly. So I'm going to come back to the center, kind of make this just a pinch thicker right in the middle. A little bit more dubbing just to kind of get it back up to the front. So we've probably thrown in here about 6 of these 4-inch to 5-inch dubbing strands. This one's going to be just a little thinner so that I can finish that up. Nice little clean head there. But you can see the shape of this. It's kind of a thick in the middle and then thin towards the end. Pull a thin skin over so it encapsulates the body of the fly. I'm not going to cut that off quite yet. Grab the mono, and as I'm wrapping this, I'm going to pull really tight. There's about 9 wraps there. You could probably put up to a dozen if you wanted. Cut that off. Cut the thin skin off. And at this point, make sure our head is nice and tight so nothing comes apart. Nice little taper. Finish. Green fly larva. something you should fish a lot, especially in the spring when we start getting all these big runoffs. And it's a very heavy fly, and I think you'll be surprised how many fish you'll catch on this. Even fish these into the summertime. John Barr's crane fly larva. Thanks for watching this video.